Wagner Group got nukes? Well, that is what some sources claim. In fact, they claim that during the mutiny, when the Wagner forces were going up through Voronezh on their way to Moscow, which was halfway there uh, from Don and Rostov, that they actually got access to the nuclear facility there, which is Voronezh 45. That is one of 12 central storage sites that Russia has. Russia also has 35 base type sites there in Russia. So that the 12 central sites are the main sites. And then, like I said, there's 35 base sites that like have a military base in a base that has nukes. So what is claimed is they went in there without any resistance and just walked right in and took possession of the facility. Did they get nukes? What would they have done with them? What possibly could they have wanted with them? Well, we'll talk about that. So, guys, what happened is that actually it was claimed by the head of the Freedom of Russia Legion, a man who's the commander by the name of Caesar. Now, imagine that. Well, he's making these claims, and there's been some other claims to this effect that I've mentioned before. So, what he said is that we have reliable information that during the mutiny, one of the units consisting of 21 armored vehicles with over 100 soldiers took control of the nuclear weapons facility of Voronezh 45. The facility is under the command of the 12th Chief Directorate of the Russian Ministry of Defense. So, guys, what the heck? But anyway, he said they managed to get into the site without encountering any resistance. He said how it ended, we don't know for sure, but we think it's perfectly possible that something did happen. Well, that's a huge claim. Of course, a lot of people would speculate, this guy's a rebel. And so what would he really, well, he might have good intel on it, but is he got a political agenda in claiming this? So, guys, here's the thing, is that it's also been claimed by, I've heard reports of, I'm not verified this, that the Israeli intelligence was claiming that the Wagner Group was there in Ukraine next to where they're storing nukes, and the idea would be that they would get one and use it on the NATO meeting in Voronezh, Lithuania, which is to occur the 11th to the 12th. I kind of doubt that. I really doubt that because that would be over the top. But if Russia wanted something like that to happen, using a loose organization, supposedly loose, especially if they're in mutiny, and deemed to be a separate entity in mutiny against Putin, if they were to run an operation like that, they would have. Would they have deniability, or would NATO just turn around and blast Russia to pieces? Yeah, I think that's a very risky operation. I have a hard time seeing that happen. But it says Western sources have said, well, we can't imagine what use they would have for these devices because they have controls on them, codes you got to enter to make them useful, blah, blah. And so what could it possibly do? And well, there might be a couple of things. For one, it might be that this could have been used as ransom to ensure the freedom of the Wagner Group should they get in tight dealing with the Russians. And it might have been the bargaining chip that got them their safe exit to Belarus. Maybe this, whatever happened with that facility of Voronezh 45, the Kremlin is tight-lipped over it. They're not talking about it. So did anything happen there? Probably, I'm kind of skeptical of it, but if it could have, it might have been what was possible. This is what the Freedom of Russia Legion is claiming. Now, if something did happen, as they claim, then it could be that could have been used for ransom. It could be that they might look. Wagner Group is a mercenary group. They're soldiers of fortune, soldiers for hire. Maybe they would like to sell these on the black market. If that's true, then there's real potential danger. These might be used like for balloon-based EMP devices, like I mentioned earlier, where they take out dams and other things. Now, we're talking not just tactical nukes. We're talking about full-scale nukes. This is one of the 12 central facilities of Russia. So these could be some really, who knows what all they had, probably quite an inventory there. But what Caesar was claiming and all this is, and others in the West claim, this shows that the security of the facilities there in Russia are not up to par. that a terrorist or criminal group might go in and seize these weapons and use them for their own ends, whatever it may be. So especially if Russia got weak and fell apart, as some people allege that it's on the way to doing, then and then again, there's those allegations that when the Soviet Union fell, there were a lot of loose nukes. It is claimed by the General Lebed back several years ago, I mentioned this previously, that up to 100 backpack nukes went missing in the United States. They had them pre-positioned, according to him, to do things like take out dams, which I've talked about in the video, and bridges, nuclear power plants, key infrastructural items. So we don't know for a fact what any of this is. That's the bottom line. But the bottom line is also there is risk. The Wagner Group got this. The Wagner Group didn't get that. In the future, maybe somebody else could storm through and acquire some of these weapons and might use them for ill purposes, especially if the Soviet Union, Russia, excuse me, should get in a weak state like the Soviet Union once did. We also know there was a lot of stuff on the black market when the Soviet Union fell, and are probably from the inventories of the main weapons. They said there was no security in some of these places. We don't know what come up missing. Honestly, we have no idea what come up missing out of the Russian facilities at that time. So there's a big question: what is going down? And in terms of the initiating devices, well, some good engineers could figure that out just about anywhere, figure out how to hotwire. Anybody can hotwire a car, right? So they might figure out how to make these things work. So on a nuclear device, the triggers are supposed to be the absolute limiting factor, because they're supposed to have a limited shelf life. And supposedly, just anybody can't build them. It takes a ginormous nation state, even though Pakistan and North Korea and quite a few others, Iran, apparently have such technology on hand. And we did do it with the technology of the 40s. Multiple devices, large and small, hydrogen bombs, atomic fusion bombs, and even Davy Crockett artillery piece, nuclear artillery. So, yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical about just how hard it is to come up with a fuse. But in any event, the fuses are supposed to have, but they got a shelf life. Supposedly the ones though that were there at Voronezh were still operable. So did something happen? Did something not happen? I'm not making a claim one way or the other. This is just an open question, and it's just part of the craziness that our world's in today. It just seems to keep piling up. So it's like, we're playing some kind of game of chance, but the problem is we're playing too many games at the same time. What's the chances that one of them are going to get us? It's cumulative. You only have to have a few of these go bad for something, or one out of many for something bad to happen. That's why you need to get ready, prepare. Also learn some skills. Somebody emphasized in my notes. Yeah, I've talked about skills for gardening and stuff like that. And I've told you before, you're not going to get that stuff by watching a video or just going out and sticking around and throwing some seeds in. I've had people argue with me about that, by the way. No, you need to practice. Whatever your prepping skills is, whether it's the use of your nug, if you know what I mean, flip the word around, or if it's the what you do out in the woods. You got a bug out bag. Have you tuck it out in the woods and went backpacking with it? Have you been camping? Do you know how to live in the woods? Do you know how to do tactical stuff? Do some training if you can. Get yourself in shape if possible. We are in perilous times right now. We don't know what's going to happen with the reactor at Zaporizhzhia. Both the Russians and the Ukrainians are each claiming the other's going to blow it up today. Supposed to be the day it's going to happen. Well, I think they're running out of time over there. It's probably almost the 6th already. So who said they'd do it by then? I don't know. That's what they were claiming. So what does it all mean? It means we're in perilous times. That's the bottom line. We're in perilous times. Whatever it is, keep your eyes wide open, head on the swivel. Check out my links to True Leaf Market below. Oh yeah, we're going to garden, like I mentioned. Check out my links to my page, True Leaf Market. Like I said, yeah, True Leaf Market. Good enough. All right, guys. Thank y'all for watching, and Greg out.